I had a decision to make when I got a call. A guy named Ken called me up, and he works for Steven Tyler, the lead singer for Aerosmith. And he asked me if we could do a project together. And when he called me, I didn't have anything for him. And so, long story short, it didn't work out. And then he called me up again a year later, and he said, is there anything we can do together this year? And again, I couldn't. But then everything changed just recently when a client of mine came to me and said, I want you to fix up my car. Well, like many of my clients, their dreams are big and their budgets are small. And so we routinely have to sort of craft what we can do in sort of what I call the art of the possible. And so for him, I crafted a project, but it simply wasn't enough for the minimum standard for him. And, he wanted, 5 big things done, and he had the money for one. And after long discussions, he made a very painful decision to sell his car. And, the good news for me was that the car is, in my opinion, a diamond in the rough. The car had been just, how time takes over, and the car had been neglected and left out in the rain. And as a result, much of the work we had done 10 years ago had sort of fallen by the wayside. The fuel system was bad. And so I had this idea that maybe his car would be the perfect car for Ken and Janie's fund. So I called up Ken, and I sort of threw a concept at him. I said, we've got a 65 Corvette, which is, of course, a C2, in my opinion, the single most beautiful car ever made. Now, I am not a huge fan of them in the Roadster version. I'm just not. This was one of those cars where the Roadster, although very nice in the summer to throw the top down and go for a cool, cruise, the reality is the C2 Roadster is kind of like the significantly ugly cousin to the coupe. And they're all ugly cousins to the split window coupe. And so my concept was we take one of the tops that we built years ago and we add it to this Roadster and we make a split window convertible, and we take this and work with Steven Tyler and Janie's fund and produce a breathtaking car. And so, we always have to second guess our own decisions, right? We make that decision to go out with our buddies drinking, and then we later on find out when everybody gets arrested, well, that was probably the wrong decision. And we have these decisions in life that we later look back on and go, yeah, I probably didn't think that one through all the way. And as I was on the phone with Ken making the decision to work with him on this project, this very sort of ominous sort of Damocles started coming down on the back of my neck, and that was, is this project going to kill us? Will the guys and gals at FantomWorks take the project in the spirit in which it's intended and build a nice car that we can use for Janie's fund? And so the sort of the juxtaposed position I was in is, I want to make it to where it doesn't kill me financially. At the same time, Janie's fund is one of those things that I believe very, very strongly in. So Steven Tyler, and I'm probably going to get this wrong, but I believe after he sang the song, Janie's Got a Gun, which the lyrics deal with a girl who is now capable of defending herself. And so this organization worked with Steven Tyler to create and rename the organization Janie's Fund and sort of flag it under Steven Tyler. And I have immense respect for Steven Tyler for doing all this work with battered women and children, because in society, I believe that men are still men. They have a certain chromosome set, and they are, as a rule, stronger and are physically dominant over the average woman because they're just bigger, stronger, and they have testosterone. And to me, it is completely unfair for a man to use that position to hurt a woman. I don't care whether it's a slap, a punch, or anything else. It is just inherently wrong. And so when Janie's Fund, which is an organization that champions this effort, and Steven Tyler has all of these people involved in this. When they decided, to do this, and then they asked me if I would help, I'm now in this position where I want the car to be as nice as possible to raise as much money as possible. At the same time, I don't want it to be to the point where it financially crushes my company and breaks me. And that's actually a really fine line we have to walk down. So as we embark on this project, my number one concern is, will the guys work with me when I ask them for a great product? Are they going to deliver me a great product in a reasonable number of hours? Or are they going to say, it's for Janie's fund, it's going to Hollywood at the Palladium to be auctioned off in the Grammy viewing party, so therefore it has to be perfect, and there is no perfection other than Christ. And so as a result of that, are we chasing a goal that we will never achieve, and am I going to be the one that basically dies in the process? And so here we are. We're on the brink of this project, and I'm already seeing some red flags based on some of the things that people have said, and I guess we'll know because we only have about 4 months to do the entire project. So. Normally on a project of this scope, I would want 18 to 24 months. We've got 4 months, maybe 5. And in that time, we've got to take a car and turn it into a world-class icon. I mean, it's got to be beautiful. And the concept I've got, and this is where I get it from my son, so I apologize. I'm stealing his idea. But he's a Batman fan. He's not really a superhero fan, but the reason he's a Batman fan, and he had to remind me that Batman is just a human being. He doesn't have kryptonite that works against him, and he's not from the planet Zorg, and he doesn't have all these superpowers. He can't spin webs. Batman is just a guy who decided, as a result of wrong things that happened to his family, to fight crime. And so that's sort of the position I'm taking with this car. There is no one at this shop that's a superhero. There is no one at this shop that has unbelievable powers. We're just a bunch of regular guys and gals that come to work and try and do the best we possibly can. And in this case, we're going to ask that of a car. We're going to take this 65 Corvette and ask it to be something special. We're going to ask it to be stunning. We're going to ask it to perform well. And then we're going to ask it to go across the stage and pull at the heartstrings of other people and convince them that a regular car with their money can do superhuman things. So that's kind of the theme of this car. Is I'm going to model it after a very dark black theme like Batman. Very little color, very little flash. I want it to be an incredible thing that does not necessarily look flashy. And we're going to embark on this project, and through it, I hope that you, in the end, can decide, did we do it right or did we screw it up? And with that, I say thank you for joining me on this journey.